We were standing in my mother's living room after a small family gathering. Everyone had already left, uncles, cousins, neighbors, and my mom had fallen asleep on the couch after laughing too hard at some old stories. Only her friend Sarah remained. She always stayed behind to help clean up. That was just the kind of woman she was, kind, soft-spoken, caring, someone who carried a quiet beauty without even realizing it. She was wiping the kitchen counter, the loose strands of her hair falling to the side of her face, the sleeves of her light sweater pushed up to her elbows. She looked tired, but in a peaceful, gentle way. I was supposed to walk out. I was supposed to say goodnight. But something stopped me. Maybe it was the way the warm light hit her. Maybe it was the way she hummed softly while cleaning. Maybe it was the way her eyes softened whenever she looked at my mom with affection. I don't know what it was. All I know is I said it. "You look beautiful tonight." I didn't expect her reaction. She froze. Completely. Like her entire world paused with her hand still on the countertop. Slowly she turned her head, her eyes widening, not in shock, but in disbelief, like she genuinely couldn't understand why someone would say that to her. "What did you just say?" she whispered. I swallowed. "You heard me." Her cheeks flushed, just barely, but enough that anyone paying attention would notice. "No," she breathed, "you shouldn't say that to me." "Why not?" She looked away, laughing under her breath in disbelief. "Because I'm your mom's friend. Because I'm older. Because I don't know how to hear that anymore." That last part cracked something inside me. "What do you mean you don't know how to hear it?" I asked. She sighed, leaning on the counter for support, her voice suddenly much softer. "No one has called me beautiful in a long time," she said, not in a way that felt real. My heart ached at that. I stepped closer, not too close, just enough. "Well," I said softly, "I meant it." She looked up at me slowly, like she wasn't sure if she should. "You shouldn't say things like that," she whispered again. "Then why do you look like you want me to say it again?" That time she didn't look away. She stared at me, really stared, like she was trying to read something in my eyes. "Don't joke with me," she said quietly. "I'm not joking." She opened her mouth to respond, but nothing came out. She just stood there, breathing a little too fast, her hands trembling slightly. She finally managed to whisper, "You shouldn't look at me like that." "How am I looking at you?" "Like I'm someone you're allowed to want." The air between us shifted so suddenly, I felt it like a physical touch. "I never said I wasn't allowed," I replied. She took a step back, just one, like she needed space to think. Her hand went to her hair, brushing it behind her ear nervously. "You don't understand," she said. "People my age don't get looked at that way, not anymore. Maybe people your age are blind." She blinked slowly. "Don't say things like that." "Why? Because they're true." She swallowed, and for the first time I saw something in her eyes I'd never seen, fear and longing tangled together. "You're making this very hard," she whispered. "What exactly am I making hard?" "Keeping distance," she said quietly. "You don't have to keep distance." "I should." "But you don't want to." Her silence said everything. The kitchen felt warm and too quiet. The air felt heavy. Her breathing was soft and uneven. Finally, she said, "Why would you say something like that to me?" "Because I've been thinking it for a long time," I admitted. She closed her eyes, almost like the truth hurt. "That's not fair," she whispered. "Why not?" "Because I'm not supposed to feel anything when you say it." "But you do." Her eyes opened again, and this time she didn't hide. She took a slow step toward me, then another, until we were close enough that I could see every tiny flicker of emotion in her eyes. "Say it again," she whispered. "Say what?" "That I'm beautiful." I raised a hand slowly. giving her every chance to pull away, and brushed a strand of hair behind her ear. "You're beautiful." Her lips parted. Her breath trembled. Her eyes softened completely, and the last of her walls seemed to melt. Her voice was barely audible. "No one has said that to me like this," she whispered, "like they meant it, like I matter." "You matter," I said softly, "more than you know." She let out a shaky breath and whispered the words that left me frozen. "Then don't stop, not tonight." Her fingers brushed mine, gentle at first, then slowly curling around them like she'd been wanting to for a long, long time. And the way she looked at me. It wasn't confusion. It wasn't guilt. It wasn't hesitation. It was permission. And something deeper than that. Here is the continuation, flowing naturally from the moment you left off. No headings, direct storytelling, emotional, slow burn, intimate 40-50-minute packing. Her fingers tightened around mine, almost like she realized she was crossing an invisible line but couldn't stop herself anymore. I felt the warmth of her hand, the softness of her touch, the hesitance mixed with desire, all of it in one small motion. And then she whispered something I wasn't prepared for. I forgot what it feels like to be wanted. My breath caught, not because I didn't expect it, but because she said it with such heartbreaking honesty that I felt it inside my chest. "You're wanted," I said softly. She let out a trembling exhale and looked down at our hands, her thumb brushing lightly over my skin. "You don't realize what you're doing," she murmured. "You're saying things I thought I'd never hear again." "Then let me say them." Her eyes lifted to mine slowly, and something deep flickered there. Fear, hope, longing, conflict, all swirling like a storm she had kept inside for too many years. "You're too young," she whispered. "I'm old enough to know what I feel." "And what do you feel?" she asked, her voice barely steady. I stepped closer, gently giving her time to pull away if she wanted to. She didn't. "I feel," I said softly, "that you're the most beautiful woman in this house, in any room you walk into." Her lips parted, her breath shaking again. She looked like she didn't know whether to move closer or run away. "Don't say that," she whispered. "Why?" "Because I'll believe you." "You should." She looked down again as if grounding herself. Then she asked in a quiet, vulnerable voice, "Why me?" I lifted her chin with 2 fingers, making sure she saw the truth in my eyes. "Because when you smile, it feels like the room gets softer. Because you're gentle with everyone, even when you're tired. Because you've spent so much of your life taking care of others that no one ever stops to take care of you. Because your beauty isn't loud, it's real, and because—" I paused, searching her face. "Because I've felt something for you for a long time." She inhaled sharply, like the words knocked the air out of her. "Nobody has ever said anything like that to me," she whispered. "Well," I smiled slightly, "then it's about time someone did." Silence settled between us, warm, charged, fragile. She studied my face like she was trying to memorize it, like she wasn't sure if this moment was real or something she was imagining. Finally, her voice broke the quiet. "Do you know how long it's been since someone held my hand?" she asked. "No." She shook her head lightly. "Years, maybe I stopped counting." I tightened my fingers gently around hers, giving her a reassuring squeeze. Her eyes flickered downward again. "It feels strange." "Good strange." Her breath hitched. "Yes, good." For a moment she just stood there, letting herself feel it, my hand holding hers, the closeness, the warmth. Then she whispered, almost in disbelief, "You're not supposed to make me feel like this." "What if I want to?" Her eyes softened again. "You can't." "Why not?" "Because I'll get attached." "I'm right here," I said softly. "You don't have to be afraid of that." She looked at me for a long moment, then whispered something so quiet it almost broke me. "No one ever stays." I stepped closer, close enough that she could feel my breath, but still giving her space to move if she wanted. "I'm not going anywhere," I said. She swallowed hard. And then, finally, her hand let go of the last bit of caution it was holding. She stepped into me, slowly, gently resting her forehead against my chest like she was trusting me with something precious. I wrapped one arm around her waist, careful, protective. She let out a shaky breath against my shirt. "You make me feel alive again," she whispered. I rested my chin lightly on her head. "Good, you deserve to feel alive." She stayed like that for a long time, leaning into me, breathing softly, like she was letting go of years of loneliness one breath at a time. Then she pulled back just enough to look at me. Her eyes were warm, soft, searching. "Can I ask you something?" she said. "Anything." She hesitated, then whispered. "Why tonight? Why tell me I'm beautiful now?" Because I didn't want to wait anymore. She held my gaze, her fingers nervously touching the hem of my shirt as if she didn't know what to do with her hands. "You're making it very hard for me," she said softly. "Good." She shook her head, but her smile, shy, small, genuine, gave her away. "You really don't know what you're starting," she whispered. "Then show me." Her breath trembled, and slowly, very slowly, she leaned in. Her lips brushed my jaw softly, so softly I almost thought I imagined it. She pulled back immediately, eyes wide, breath shaking. "I shouldn't have done that." "You can do it again," I murmured. She stared at me, torn between fear and desire. Her voice was barely audible. "Do you want me to?" I took her face in my hands, gently, carefully, like she was something fragile. "Yes," I whispered, "I want you to." She inhaled sharply, her whole body tensing with emotion. And then she kissed me. Soft, careful, full of hesitation and longing and hope, and everything she'd buried for years. When she pulled back, her eyes were shining and she whispered, "What are we doing?" "Something we both want," I said. She looked down, then back at me and whispered, "Don't stop."